We got a lot of news coming out of Cincinnati. Wide receiver T. Higgins has been franchise tagged. Defensive end Trey Hendrickson has been granted permission to seek a trade. What's up, y'all? It's JC. If you're new, welcome to the channel. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. My initial thoughts when it comes to T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson, I'll give T. Higgins first, right? Talented wide receiver. He's regarded as one of those receivers who they're a wide receiver too, but they're really like a 1B type of guy. You think of him, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, he's in that category, right? If he goes to another team, many believe that he can be a wide receiver one. And him winning a new contract has been, that's been in discussion since last season, right? He's been wanting that long-term deal and he hasn't gotten it yet. But I would say 26 mil for 1 year is not bad at all. I know Joe Burrow has been advocating for him to come back. Now, the Bengals are in a position I haven't seen too many teams in, having to pay both of their top wide receivers at the same time. Jamar Chase, he's going to get the bag. He's going to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league. You can expect about, maybe 38, 37 a year with his new contract. It's just a matter of time before they announce it, before they get that deal done. So it looks like that three-headed monster of Burrow, Higgins, and Chase will be back in full effect next season. Now, when the news broke that T. Higgins was getting franchise tagged, a report came out saying that maybe this is a move by the Bengals in which they franchise tag T. Higgins, but they're still looking to trade him. But since then, they've come out and said that they are not taking any calls for the wide receiver. Here's my only gripe with the situation. I'm not mad at T. Higgins for wanting a long-term deal. Every player wants that, right? You don't want to, be out there just signing 1-year deals every single year, not knowing where you'll be next season. That's not ideal for most guys, especially when they're young, when they're in their prime. But when you have a quarterback who's in his prime, he's regarded as a top 5 quarterback by many. You also have a wide receiver in Jamar Chase. He's regarded as arguably the best receiver in the league. Him and Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, they're all in that mix, right? And when you have Burrow, you have Chase, you have Higgins on that offense, the goal is to win the Super Bowl. They were in the Super Bowl, about 2-3 years ago? And they were young then. They want to get back. I'm looking at the makeup of the past 10 Super Bowl winners when it comes to the quarterback, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Are they paying all of those guys? That's the only thing I'm looking at. All right, this is the winning category. Broncos, Super Bowl 50. They had Demaryius Thomas. Who was opposite of him? Wes Welker. I'm trying to think who was the other guy? Like Emmanuel Sanders. I don't think the combination of those guys, I don't think 2 out of 3 of those guys were in the top 10 when it comes to making money for wide receivers. The New England Patriots, they had Gronk. I'll grouping in with a pass catcher. Gronk, I don't think Edelman. Edelman, he may have been top 10. I'm not sure. Julian Edelman, I don't know. Eagles, Alshon Jeffrey. I don't even know who was opposite of him. Torrey Smith, maybe. Not 2 wide receivers making top 10 money. New England again. Edelman. I don't even know who was opposite of Edelman. Then you still had Gronk. The Chiefs first Super Bowl, they had Tyreek Hill. That's about it. They had Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. But again, you're not seeing, the trend is you're not seeing 2 wide receivers, a 1A and a 1B with these teams. Now, when it comes to the Bucks, now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of course they had Mike Evans. I think they brought in AB. He was on a vet deal. It wasn't a big deal, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think Chris Godwin was still on his rookie deal, but Mike Evans was most likely making top 10 money for a wide receiver at that moment. Los Angeles Rams, you just had Cooper Kupp. I don't know who was opposite of him off the top of my head. The Chiefs, Super Bowl 2023, they didn't have any marquee guys at the wide receiver position. And then last year, against San Francisco, again, didn't have any marquee guys at wide receiver. They still had Travis Kelce. And then this year, the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel like this is the anomaly because I don't know how the Eagles crunch their numbers. They're always restructuring. They find a way because they had, they have AJ Brown and then Devontae Smith, 1A, 1B. So maybe this can be a turn. maybe this is the turn where, you see two top two wide receivers. Maybe that can be the formula when it comes to winning, but I'm not sure because in the past it's not really. You don't see too many, guys, two guys making top notch dollar. When you look around the league, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, the Dolphins haven't done, solid team, but they haven't gotten far in the playoffs. Let's look at who is making the top dollar right now. So for 2025 contract average, you see Justin Jefferson, he's number 1, and then T. Higgins is number 10. And then you can expect Jamar Chase to bump up to number 1 as soon as he gets that deal done. Paying two wide receivers top-notch money hasn't been the formula for most teams in the past 10 years to win the Super Bowl. And to get to the Trey Hendrickson situation, he leads the league in sacks this past season, and on a pretty bad defense. He's one of the very few bright spots on that Cincinnati Bengals defense this past season. When it comes to the Cincinnati Bengals, they have a reputation. The ownership has a reputation of not hashing out a lot of money when it comes to contract extensions or when it comes to going after big name free agents. So this is kind of, I wouldn't say expected, but it wouldn't surprise a lot of people. Like, hey, Trey Hendrickson, he's up for a lot of money. Granted, he is 31 years old. Father Time always wins, but he just had a great season. So I kind of understand both sides. You got an older guy. Maybe you don't want to pay him too much. You want to put that money elsewhere. And also you have Jamar Chase. That contract isn't done yet, so you got to pay him. So I kind of see it, but when it comes to next year, that you gotta something's got to show for it, right? That production has to be replaced, because if it's not, going to look crazy. Plain and simple, you're going to look crazy. So time will tell. Maybe Hendrickson doesn't get traded. Maybe they work out a deal in Cincy. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Cincinnati Bengals place their money outside of Jamar Chase. Like, they need to shore up that defense. Across the board, the team needs help on the defensive side. The draft is coming up, free agencies in a couple of days. So we'll see how Cincy moves. In the comments, let me know your thoughts on T. Higgins getting franchise tagged and Trey Hendrickson being granted permission for a trade.